After my husband faked his death, I followed suit. He eloped with a pregnant mistress, leaving me his household mess. I took my dowry to Jiangnan and wed a scholar. Years later, he returned to the capital as the deposed crown prince. He cleared his name, making me royalty. Earlier, while sorting Lu Xingzhou's things after his death, I found he kept a mistress, Lin Shuang'er, whom he cherished. Many things from the storeroom had been sent to her, including the imperial bestowed white jade Qilin paperweight. I thought, now that he has passed away, as the legitimate wife, it was my duty to find a proper arrangement for that woman. I am a kind person, and considering how hard life is for women in this world, she had no family and became a mistress, which perhaps was not her choice. I did not intend to sell her off. I planned to retrieve the imperial gift, then give her some money to send her back to her hometown. However, when I arrived at Yanyu Alley, I happened to run into the mistress carrying large and small bags. She came out of the small courtyard rented from Lu Xingzhou, then furtively got into an inconspicuous carriage. The woman was strikingly beautiful, with a slightly rounded belly. The gold hairpin she wore looked very familiar to me. It was the ruby Ruyi hairpin from my dowry, which had suddenly gone missing a few days ago. Lu Xingzhou said it was probably because one of the maids in the house had sticky fingers, and for this, she had even punished two of the maids who cleaned the courtyard. To my shock, this item appeared on a mistress's head. What a husband! As I moved to seize her, a hand reached from the carriage helping her. "Let me help you," he said. The voice was unmistakably my husband, Lu Xingzhou. I recognized his pale, slender hand lifting the curtain. Crucially, a scabbed bite mark was on that hand. Lu Xingzhou had the same mark from when I bit him. I found that despite his looks, he was rotten, owing hundreds of thousands before our marriage. He wanted my dowry to pay it off. Angrily, I bit him until he bled. I wanted to show him I wasn't to be trifled with and to stay away from my money. He just admitted his mistake, promising to treat me well and begging me to pay his debts. Looking back now, it wasn't that he realized his mistake, it was that he realized I wasn't easy to fool. So he simply pulled a cicada shedding its shell trick, faking his death and dumping all the mess at home onto me. What a ruthless person. "Miss, that man is the young master. He's not dead." My personal maid, Ziyuan, has sharp eyes. With just one glance, she recognized that the man was none other than Lu Xingzhou, who should have been resting in his grave by now. I nodded, motioning for her to lower her voice, and pulled her aside to hide. "Miss, why hide? If you don't rush over, the master's eloping with that woman." He rolled up his sleeves, ready to demand justice for me. If they elope, it's easier to handle them. If I rush out now, and his feigned death fails, he'll still have to be my husband, and I'll still be forced to help them pay off the mansion's debts. It's better to let everyone believe he's dead. Without travel documents, wherever he goes, he'll have to hide and live as a vagrant. Never again the lofty heir of the Bo family estate. Since they're scheming against me like this, I'll just go along with it, and let him see the consequences of eloping. But once they leave, you'll have to live as a widow. That's not fair to you. Ziyuan keeps thinking that I'm the one who's losing out here. Silly girl. Once he was the husband and I was the wife. He was my sky and I revered him. Now I am in the light and he is in the shadows. I have money, he has none. I am the one in power, he is beneath me. Things have gotten interesting. I curled my lips into a slight smile. My grief over my husband's death was instantly swept away, replaced entirely by anger. If he dares to make the first move, I'll respond in kind. If he can fake his death and elope with his mistress, then I can just as quickly sever all marital ties with him in my heart. If I hadn't discovered it early, I fear that years later, after paying the Bo family's debts, he'll return with his mistress and children. He'll still be the lord, and his mistress would become his wife. Since I have no children, his illegitimate offspring would become the Bo heir. Then he'd divorce me, or since I'm alone, let his children seize my businesses. And my dowry, he might even poison me for a slow death. Though it hasn't happened yet, I can already see my future ending. Miss is right. What's the plan? We can't let them off easily. Siwan nodded. As my dowry maid, she's on my side. Go back and have my brother hire fake bandits. Ambush and rob them once they're far enough. After taking all the valuables from them, give them another beating. If you can break their arms or legs, even better. I hold a grudge. It's not just my husband's betrayal. If a dog peed on my shoes, I'd kill it for revenge. Anyone messing with me asks for trouble. Since they eloped under aliases, I'll cut marital ties in my heart and let them hide. Let them taste the bitterness of living incognito. They think love sustains them, but without money, they're stuck. I won't corner them, forcing an immediate return to the capital to reclaim their luxury. I want them hungry, but not starving, suffering but hopeful. Let them struggle until the estate is gone. Upon their return, creditors already blocked the door. Lu Xingzhou's death is common knowledge despite no official funeral. The old master is at a temple, detached from worldly affairs. Madame Bo is ill, and with Lu Xingzhou's passing, they fear no one will be left to pay the debts. Seeing this, Ziyuan helped me down. We entered the Bo residence through the back door to avoid trouble. Though those debts aren't mine, and I knew nothing of them when I married in, as the Bo family's young madam, I can't distance myself from Lu Xingzhou. This plan is wise. I gave Ziyuan some gold and told her, take this to Madam's courtyard, find your fellow villager, and discreetly ask around. After Lu Xingzhou faked his death, my mother-in-law stopped me from searching the cliff base, saying she didn't want anyone seeing remains left by wild animals. Thinking back now, perhaps he had known the truth from the very beginning. Ziyuan nodded. Her fellow townsman was extremely greedy, and the madam of the Bo family was stingy and petty, treating those around her harshly. If we wanted to get the truth out of that maid, this would be enough. An hour later, Ziyuan returned and quietly whispered in my ear that the maid said the madam had once ordered someone to tamper with the heir's carriage. But young Lord Ri was actually hiding in Yan Yuxiang's private room, drinking. Madame Bo later admitted marrying you was just to pay off the Bo family's debts. Once paid, her son would return, and they'd ruin your reputation to get rid of you. Hearing this, I was furious. That old woman, I thought she was innocent, but since she wants me dead, I'll be ruthless. She's already gravely ill. If I don't help, she's finished. When the gatekeeper said debt collectors were making a scene on my mother-in-law's orders, I said, open the door and take them to the old madam. Tell them I'm just a woman of the inner quarters and my mother-in-law decides everything. She wanted me to clean this mess, so I kicked the ball back, letting them confront her until she's speechless. After the gatekeeper left, I had Ziyuan and Qingdai inventory my dowry. Ziyuan asked, Miss, you aren't using your dowry for the Bo family's debts, right? Do they deserve it? I shook my head. No, what I mean is that we need to secretly move these things out as soon as possible. Rent a boat and head to Jiangnan. There's no way I'm letting my dowry benefit them. Uncle, they wish, Ziyuan asked. Miss, if you want to leave the Bo family I can understand, but why not return to your parents' home? I reached out and gently tapped her forehead. Silly girl, according to the law, I must observe 3 years of widowhood before I can return home. If I go home now, how will my sisters ever marry? People will call our daughters heartless. But if I fake my death, outsiders will think the Bo family's debts killed me. Then my mother-in-law and the Bo's will be blamed. I'll buy a house in Jiangnan, settle down, and live in peace. Wouldn't that be wonderful? The maids agreed it made sense. Who would want to be trapped in this lifeless Bo family mansion for a lifetime? Who doesn't long for the freedom and ease of the misty, rainy Jiangnan? Hearing what I said, they were all moved, especially Qingdai, who was the most eager. So when are we leaving? And can I start packing now? I smiled and said, you can start getting ready. Once we've moved all of my dowry out, we'll leave. But remember, don't let any word of this leak out and alert others. They all nodded in agreement. When those debt collectors saw my mother-in-law, they didn't care whether she was gravely ill or not. Each one, eyes red and necks bulging, reached out to demand money from her. Someone was even shaking an abacus, the beads nearly poking her in the face.
Madame Bo, your son owed me 3,000 taels of silver before he died. Now that he's gone, your Bo family should pay this debt, shouldn't you?
Someone slammed the account book down in front of her sickbed.
Madame Bo, last year you owed me 5,000 taels for silk and money for pearl hairpins and jewelry. When do you plan to pay it back? If you don't, I'll report you to the authorities.
Someone kicked over the water basin in front of them.
The Bo family owes us 7,000 tiles. Whenever your family eats here, it's just put on the tab. It's been 10 years since you last paid.
The mother-in-law saw how aggressive they were, giving her no respect at all, and was so angry that her chest heaved violently.
I just lost my son. How can you be so aggressive and even barge into my house? All of you, get out!
Mid-sentence, she covered her mouth with a handkerchief and coughed violently, her chest aching. Her two maids saw this and tried to drive out the collectors, but they lacked the strength. Their efforts were feeble. Out, all of you, out! You're disturbing Madam's rest. The debt collectors paid no attention. One of them even grabbed one of the maids, leering as he stroked her cheek.
Not bad. She's worth 100 taels. I'll take her.
Seeing this, another one picked up an antique vase from the Babao pavilion.
This vase can also settle the debt.
The room erupted in chaos as debt collectors grabbed whatever they could find. Some rummaged through cabinets for the maids' contracts to seize as payment. When I arrived with the guards, my mother-in-law's quarters were trashed. The screen was down, shelves were bare, and cabinets overturned. The jewelry and even her favorite fox fur ball were gone. Of her 6 maids, only the 3 prettiest remained. They were taken to pay the debt. My mother-in-law was pale with fury, shaking and crying.
These bandits! Who let them in?
Then as soon as she saw me, she immediately accused me.
Was it you? Are you deliberately trying to anger me to death? You know I'm ill.
Of course I denied it, holding a handkerchief and looking aggrieved. Mother, you're wronging me. I didn't know they would be so vicious. I just saw them standing in the cold wind for a long time and felt sorry for them. So I told the gatekeeper to let them in so I could discuss the debt situation with you, mother-in-law. You were so angry you almost fainted, pointing at me for a long time, unable to speak. It was a while before you finally said,
You felt sorry for them? I, an old woman, was nearly scared to death by them just now.
I lowered my head and admitted my mistake with a very good attitude. Mother, I know I was wrong. I won't do it again in the future. If there's nothing else, I'll take my leave now. But my mother-in-law called me back, her tone extremely gentle this time.
Just in case. I heard that you brought quite a bit of dowry when you married in. Could you...
He won't say it, but he acts underhandedly. I sighed and said, Mother, let me think for a few days. I'll pretend to waver so he lowers his guard. Then, I can secretly move my dowry out in batches. Hearing this, my mother-in-law grew even kinder.
Think it over. My son truly married a capable wife.
I left her courtyard. Over the next 2 weeks, I secretly moved my dowry from the treasury, disguised as clearing clutter, to a rented merchant ship. When my mother-in-law impatiently sent someone to ask for my decision, the time was finally right. I tearfully told my mother-in-law that all of those things were my dowry given to me by my parents. Why should I use my own dowry to fill the Marquis Manor's hole? I refused. My mother-in-law got angry and smashed a set of worthless teaware.
You are my daughter-in-law. You must listen to me on this matter. Your money is the Marquis Manor's money.
Seizing the chance, I went back in my quarters and had the word spread that my mother-in-law coveted my dowry and forced me to cover the manor's debt. When she found out, she summoned and scolded me furiously.
You spread this on purpose. You just want to disgrace the Marquis Manor. Don't forget, you are now also a member of the Marquis Manor. Our fortunes rise and fall together.
With tear-filled eyes, I looked up at her, trembling, and said, Mother, will you only be satisfied if you drive me to my death?
Threatening me with death? Old woman as I am, I'm not so easily frightened. If you have the guts, then go ahead and die.
Just what I wanted to hear. I acted heartbroken but felt overjoyed. Let him be drowned by public scorn. I wept back to my room and locked the door. That night, I burned the courtyard down. By the time others arrived, the fire raged with thick smoke. When my mother-in-law was carried over, only ruins remained. My 4 maids and I were gone. She wept over the ruins as if for her own parents.
Pretending. All of her dowry was gone now.
Hearing the news, my parents rushed to the Earl's residence to confront them. My mother-in-law, unable to explain, faltered. Knowing I had faked my death, my parents didn't report it. Instead, they cut ties with my uncle's family permanently. They publicized the affair. Once word spread that Lady Beau caused her daughter-in-law's death, creditors demanded immediate repayment. Unable to pay, they filed official complaints. When my parents' pigeon arrived 3 days later, I had already sailed for Jiangnan. 10 years later, I was resting on a daybed in the shade with the now-married Ziyuan by my side. She rushed over. Miss, something's wrong. You must go to the front courtyard and see. I'm coming. Soldiers surrounded the young master. Hearing this, I bolted up and my fan fell as I panicked. What's going on? Could it be that my fake death has been discovered? But this is just a family matter of the Beau family. Why would they arrest my husband? Ziyuan shook her head breathlessly. I don't know. Miss, you should take the children and slip out the back door. Whoever can escape, should escape. Hearing this, I immediately pointed toward the room. You and Qing Dai take Yin Jie and Ungayer out the back door and hide at the Yulai Inn. I'll check the front. He's my husband and treats me well. I can't just stand by. The maids quickly hid the children. Yes, I remarried. 10 years ago, heading to Jiangnan, I rescued a drowning scholar. He was handsome and striking. Captivated, I let him marry into my family, and we've been together for 10 years. We have a son and daughter. Yingjie is 8 and Ange is 5. Both take after my husband, as handsome as New Year painting figures. Grabbing some valuables, I hurried to the courtyard and found my husband surrounded by soldiers, led by Cheng Yin. What's going on here? If you have any issues, come at me. I'm his wife. I'll protect him. As I spoke, I instinctively reached out to shield her behind me. After nearly drowning, her body was still weak. All these years she had been carefully nursed with expensive medicinal soups, and only in the past 2 years had her health improved a little. She mustn't fall ill again. Hearing this, Xiao Chengying, who had been hesitating about how to confess her background to me, coughed awkwardly, and then reached out to hold my hand.
Madam, you've misunderstood. They're not here to hurt me. They've come to escort us back to the capital.
I was stunned when I heard this. Why are we going back to the capital? Aren't you an orphan? I looked at Xiao Chengying suspiciously, then glanced at those officials and soldiers in uniform, their expressions solemn. The standardized long swords at their waists made it clear they were elite troops from the capital. Xiao Chengying, seeing my confusion, sighed, took me by the hand, and led me to a quiet spot off to the side. Then, with a sudden thud, he knelt down before me.
Madam, I was wrong. I've been hiding something from you.
The scene before me shocked me so much that my mind went numb, and I started to panic as well. I even forgot to help him up. What do you mean? Aren't you an orphan? Or do you have another wife and children in the capital? He hurriedly denied it.
No, I don't have another wife or children. I only have you and our children, and I will never change my heart. If I do, may I drown again and die a miserable death.
Ever since he nearly drowned last time, he's been left with after effects and is extremely afraid of water. Because of this, I even had all the water jars in the courtyard removed. So this oath is truly harsh for him. As long as he doesn't have another wife and children, I can be a bit more at ease. I reached out and pulled him up from the ground. That's good then. If there's anything else, just tell me all at once. Hearing this, Xiao Chengying pulled me to sit down with him in the pavilion and began to speak in detail.
Madam, actually, I lied to you. I am not an ordinary scholar. My father is the current emperor, and I was once made crown prince, but was later demoted to commoner for the crime of treason. After being demoted, I was supposed to be exiled to Lingnan for hard labor. Who would have thought that, on the way, I encountered bandits? In order to survive, I was forced to jump into the river. I can't swim, so they didn't pursue me further. For the past 10 years, everyone has thought I was dead. Later, I met you. We fell in love at first sight, and I was afraid that you would push me away because of my complicated background. So I hid my true identity from you and lived as an orphan, spending 10 years as your husband. But I never expected that one day, the treason case from back then would be reopened, because the fourth prince let something slip while drunk. Now, father finally believes that I was framed back then, and that I was not truly guilty of treason. He is getting old, and doesn't have many years left. Before he passes, he wants to see us, to meet our children, and to make arrangements for us as a way to make it up to me. Would you be willing to bring the children and return to the capital with me?
So my husband is actually the former crown prince? Then will he inherit the throne in the future? Will he become the emperor with 3 palaces and 6 courts? Thinking of this, I asked him directly, will you become the crown prince again? In the past, given my family and the country, His Majesty would never have agreed to let me make you the crown princess. She immediately understood what I meant. I had told her about my past, so she knew what I was afraid of. Xiao Chengying held me tightly in his arms and promised me.
So many years have passed, and now in the palace, it is my second brother who has become the crown prince. I will not be reinstated. I am the third in line, so in the future, I will probably just be a leisurely prince, and you will be my princess consort. No matter who shows up, it won't change the fact that you are my wife. The Bo family residence has long ceased to exist. No matter who tries to dig up the past, I will be able to protect you. Do you want to return to the capital to see your father and mother?
I thought for a moment and nodded.
Then let's take the children and return to the capital together.
After returning to the capital, the children and I accompanied Xiao Chengying to see the emperor. When the emperor saw Xiao Chengying, he was moved to tears.
Third son.
It is I who have wronged you, and I have wronged the late empress as well.
Xiao Chengying was originally the most virtuous and filial of all her sons, and he was also the legitimate son born to her and the empress. Yet, because of her suspicion, he was forced to live among commoners for 10 whole years and nearly drowned in a river. When facing the emperor, Xiao Chengying was not as emotional as she was. He simply called her Father Emperor in a calm tone, suppressing all his grievances and resentment. Over those 10 years, all of that had been worn away. Now he felt very calm inside. He no longer craved power, nor did he miss his father, the emperor. It was as if everything in the past no longer had anything to do with him. He was like an outsider. For him, the most important thing now was neither fighting for the throne nor seeking his father's favor.